What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a pretty interesting video because we are going to be going ahead and covering some leaks that just recently dropped over on Twitter. Now, the funny thing about these leaks is that they did indeed get taken down. So it's up to you guys to really determine if you think the leaks are legit or if they're not legit. But a lot of the time, you got to keep in mind, when leaks get removed, it's typically because Activision wants them off the internet. And every single time something like this occurs, usually they come true. But again, like I said, I'm going to read everything off to you guys. We're going to discuss exactly what's going on here. As always, if you guys enjoy what you hear, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. And guys, I do stream pretty much daily as well over on Kick, so if you guys are interested in any of that content, I have a link to my Kick channel down in the description of this video, and that stream goes live between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Alright, so, ladies and gentlemen, I know a lot of you guys get a little feisty when I come out here and I start talking about, leaks and information for future Call of Duty games. Everybody always says, well, JB, we're on the current title. Well, I like talking about all this different stuff revolving around Call of Duty. I like the current day stuff that we're doing right here. I've been talking about all the new game modes, all the new weapons, all the fun, everything that's being introduced. But at the same time, when something fresh or something new comes, down the pipeline for Call of Duty, you really think nobody's going to want to go ahead and discuss it and talk about it, even if the information isn't real. It's fun to get stuff out there and, get people thinking and conspiracies cooking and just, enjoying the Call of Duty universe, even though we've been in a pretty rough spot. But these leaks are for the future Call of Duty titles coming in at Call of Duty 2026 and Call of Duty 2027. Now, for all of us that have been keeping up with a lot of these leaks, we know for a fact already that Treyarch is indeed making Call of Duty 2024, which was originally titled Black Ops Gulf War, but now everybody's saying it's Black Ops 5 or now Black Ops 6. Again, who knows? But it's being made by Treyarch. And then in Call of Duty 2025, we're getting what, like a Black Ops 2 sequel? Basically something around the Black Ops 2 universe. I'm assuming they're going to be tugging on our nostalgia strings. But this is the thing right here. Sledgehammer apparently, behind the scenes said that they want more time, and Activision said that they can get it. Yet and still, Infinity Ward is on Call of Duty 2026 from the leaks, and Sledgehammer is on Call of Duty 2027, which means that, even though they are going to be getting some extra time, I'm assuming they're still going to have a team working on Call of Duty 2025, which further makes me believe it's going to be something like we're playing right here with Modern Warfare 3, where it's not really going to be a massive innovation, really. It's just going to be a few tweaks, some changes, things the community have been asking for, probably tons of content. And, they're obviously going to charge $70 for it. Everybody's going to be screaming it's a DLC, but I bet you down the road, if, of course, it's a good game, people will maybe give it a bit more respect. But that's what I'm kind of seeing here for Call of Duty 2025, because they are indeed getting plenty of time for Call of Duty 2027. But the thing is how much time are they realistically getting here? Because they are going to be making the sequel. So we don't know what that's going to be panning out to be. But let's hyper-focus a bit more on the actual, leaked games. Call of Duty 2026 is apparently going to be developed by, like I said, Infinity Ward. And ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to kind of, see. I wanted to see what they're going to do, but from how it sounds, I don't really have too much faith that Infinity Ward is going to change up their ways. I personally was saying on this channel multiple times that I'm wondering, I'm really curious if Infinity Ward is going to switch up how they go ahead and make games. Because after this year right here, Activision literally used as a selling point for Modern Warfare 3, they just roasted Modern Warfare 2 2022, saying everything that game is not, this game is. They basically just threw Infinity Ward under the bus, made them look like fools, and that's their golden child right there, right? They always take care of Infinity Ward. They always show that development team so much love. For some strange reason, they always get, complete development cycles. They never have to worry about, stressing on multiple different ends. Even when it comes down to Warzone, Raven went ahead and instantly picked that up. It's like, Treyarch and Sledgehammer are always thrown through the trenches, whereas Infinity Ward gets awesome treatment, but Modern Warfare 3, they literally were just bashing Infinity Ward time and time and time again, and it made me think, are they going to change? We've begged for change from Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 2 2022, and they refused to do anything. But after this year, is this enough for them to finally open their eyes and say, the community just isn't happy with what we're doing here, we should probably revert back? Well, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, after these leaks, I don't know if they are going to be reverting back. Apparently, the game is going to be pretty close or similar to a style like Call of Duty Ghost, a near futuristic styled game. Nothing too crazily futuristic, but right smack dab in the middle. Low-key, I didn't really mind Ghost. I thought Ghost was kind of fun, especially on the competitive side of things. Casuals were a bit toxic, but I didn't think Ghost was the worst of worst games. I thought they did a lot of things right, especially when it came to the create a class system, picking out your perks and stuff like that. I love that overall system. I didn't think it was the worst game ever, but we are in a time where Infinity Ward is evolving into something completely different. And even though I thought that the gameplay wasn't as shabby, that doesn't guarantee that they're going to even bother making this game a little bit more classic with certain features. They might stick to their guns and keep the gameplay flow exactly how they've been planning. And also, for a lot of the community, I understand this. I understand that I'm in a very small percentage of people who enjoyed Ghost to a certain degree. A lot of people, pretty much everybody out there, talked so much crap about that game. Everybody hated it. So, with that being said as well, I don't know how they're going to handle this. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't even know if they're going to carry over the modern, warfare name. It's way too far in the future to tell. Again, we're just throwing, ideas out here, conspiracy theories, and we're talking about leaks, discussing. Again, I know people are going to get angry because people cannot fathom the idea of just speculating on things. They literally, if it's not right here, right now in our hands, they don't even want to think about it. But for people who want to be a little bit more open-minded and just, guess about what's going on in the future, I'm curious what you guys are going to think here. Do you think that they're going to keep the Modern Warfare name? Do you think that they're going to pull out another Ghost 2? Do you think they're going to continue the story to Ghost? Do you think that they're going to revert back to how they used to be back in the OG Infinity War days? Or do you think they're going to stick to their guns and keep developing games how they currently are with Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare 2 2022? I'm really curious to hear what you guys got to say about that. But then for Call of Duty 2027, this is where it gets really interesting. Because again, Infinity Wars might do us pretty dirty when it comes to 2026. But 2027 is going to be apparently another Advanced Warfare. Now, again, we don't know if it's going to be the title Advanced Warfare 2 or Advanced Warfare something. Basically, what I'm getting from this information is that we are indeed going back to jetpack games. I want to point something out here, though. You know what's extremely funny to me? Activision seems to just be copying the OG Call of Duty layout. And I'm curious if they're going to recycle this one as well when we're done with all these jetpack games and all these other titles. Because if you think about it, back in the day, we had, the Modern Warfare games, some of the Black Ops series. We went to Vietnam and, during the Cold War. And then, obviously, we've eventually branched out to a near futuristic style game. And then we branched out to, Ghost and also jetpack CODs. It's the same thing right now. We're having all these Modern Warfare games. We had Black Ops Cold War. We had some World War II games thrown into the mix, right? And now we're slowly moving on to, I guess, well, this is the most unique one, is what Treyarch is making this year, the Gulf War style game. That's going to be interesting. That's probably the most unique game out of all the ones that have released recently that's going to change up some of the time periods here. But then after that, we're getting the Black Ops 2 sequel, and then something that's like Ghost, and then Advanced Warfare CODs, if, of course, the leaks pan out. But I just think it's kind of funny because you can almost guess what the next Call of Duty title is going to be if you just simply look back to how they panned out in the beginning. And I'm curious to see how they're going to keep panning them out in the future. But yes, we are going back to advanced movement as well, which again, I'm happy about. I know a lot of people are going to be a bit skeptical about this. I made a few videos in the past, but I think advanced movement is fun only in dosages. The biggest problem with advanced movement, in my opinion, is the fact that they jammed it, down our necks time and time and time again, year after year after year. Like, honestly, Infinity Ward, I don't think that game was that bad. I think it got so much hate, but the majority of the hate really did just simply come down to the fact that we had another jetpack COD game in a row. And of course, you guys know how the COD hate train rolls. Once it starts beginning, everybody piles on. I mean, before the game dropped, it was already the most disliked trailer out there on YouTube. It was already out the gates, crapped on it. Its image was already destroyed before people could even play it. So when they did play it, they already had a bad taste in their mouth. I feel bad for it because realistically, it wasn't that much different from Black Ops 3, really. They kind of kept the same formula, but spiced it up a bit in their own way. I thought it was fun. But that game, to me, is personal proof that when you overdo something time and time and time again, that isn't, down to what the core of Call of Duty is, you will lose fans. You will lose people, and you'll lose the player base, down to the point where they literally remastered Call of Duty 4 with Infinite Warfare just to increase some sales. Like, it was that rough. But that right there to me is proof that when it comes to COD, you can only branch out a little bit with a creative way, so many times. It makes me think about the UAV as well, like the minimap. A huge change, honestly, having the minimap not work how it traditionally always does. And yeah, it might be cool and quirky for a game to test it out, but you could tell the mass majority of the community was like, I still want my classic, style gameplay. I don't want people to be able to camp and hide really well. I want to, be able to use the minimap to my advantage and actually, use it to bait people to me as well. The minimap is a huge addition to COD, whether people like it or not. I know hardcore fans want it removed, but it is literally what makes Call of Duty an arcade game. There's so many ways to maneuver the minimap and abuse the minimap to your own advantage with suppressed and unsuppressed weapons. It's what adds such a fun vibe to COD a lot of the time. And they removed it, but they kept removing it, and they kept removing it. And now the community is completely they're like rioting over that feature, even though it's such a simple feature. It's huge for COD. And same thing with jetpacks. It's like, it's so simple, right? You're just strapping a jetpack on the back of your soldier. The gameplay is still the same. If you don't use the jetpack at all, the boots on the ground gameplay is pretty similar. But, at the end of the day, it's still enough. Jetpacks will change the core gameplay enough to where people, if you do it over too many years, it'll become too repetitive and it'll get disgusting. So personally, again, I don't know if these leaks are true, but if Call of Duty 2027 will be a jetpack Call of Duty game, I am just personally hoping that they aren't planning on giving every development team the same thing, because that's what they do. That's what they do. When one development team gets to do something, all of them are allowed to try it as well. And I understand it, because everybody wants to have fun with it. Everybody wants to give it a go. I'm sure all the development teams behind the scenes are like, no, I kind of want to do a jetpack game too. I'm getting tired of doing the same stuff over and over and over again. But we have to be realistic here. You can't do them every single year. You have to scatter them across the board. Sledgehammer should be able to produce a jetpack game, and then we get a couple more boots on the ground games. And then another jetpack game, whoever is up next, Infinity Ward or Treyarch, can go ahead and develop one. And then we get a couple more boots on the ground games. And then the final team can finally develop a jetpack game. But it shouldn't be 1, 2, 3, back to back to back. I don't think so. Now, I do want to bring up this, though. I do want to bring this up, and I want to see what you guys have to say down in the comment section. Do you guys believe that the jetpacks will be, how can I put this? Do you think that they're going to be more accepted nowadays with how the Call of Duty community has evolved? Because if you think about it, when jetpacks came into play, it was still really the core foundation of the COD community, It was a lot of OG players who played a lot of the OG games, but jetpacks up to current date, the community has evolved. We have a lot of newcomers who want something different out of COD. So I'm curious what you guys have to say. Do you think that the community would just prefer having a jetpack game after a jetpack game after a jetpack game? Because it seems like they're so cracked nowadays. Or realistically, like you guys know me, I don't mind just playing an OG COD title, but I have to adapt and evolve as well. The movement in these most recent COD games are really crazy, and I'm down for it. I'll play it. But you can 1010% tell that the community is nothing like they used to be. Nothing. And as much as people praise the OG style, I feel like more people are praising the new momentum that Call of Duty is trying to pick up here. I personally believe that if they do jetpack game after jetpack game after jetpack game, a lot of people will be satisfied. But people like me, and I feel like a lot of you guys as well who watch this channel, who are, some OG COD players, I feel like we will still be disturbed in the process, which is rough because I feel like they're going to get better results. Whereas previously, they didn't get good results. By the time Infinite Warfare came out, like I literally just said, they had to remaster Call of Duty 4 just to make the community happy at that point. But nowadays, it might be different. They might not have that backlash to the point where they feel like they have to remaster an OG game to keep us in action. People might actually enjoy it, and then our voices are so small at this point that it will be irrelevant. We'll literally be irrelevant. And that's something that I worry about a tad bit. But again, I want to know what you guys think down in the comment section. Do you think that the community has evolved to that point where, yeah, this is phenomenal, this movement? Or do you think that it will be still more people like us who might get a little tired of having to do jetpacks year after year after year and want a classic, good, boots on the ground game? Ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. We post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. And don't forget, I do stream pretty much daily over on Kick. If you guys are interested, I got a link to that channel down in the description of this video. And that stream goes live between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.